Long ago, during a sea voyage, the king and queen of Arendelle were caught in a storm. When she realizes that their ship is about to sink, Gerda uses her last moments to write a letter to her daughters, and Agnar throws a glass bottle containing the note written by his wife into the ocean. 5 years after the shipwreck, Anna and Elsa bring flowers to the grave built in honor of their parents, and the new queen of Arendelle reveals that she has chosen a special wedding gift for her sister. Upon arriving in the attic, Elsa opens the closet and Anna is thrilled to see her mother's wedding dress, which had been missing. While her sister changes, Elsa reads her mother's diary and is saddened to realize that her parents' perishment was her fault. Reading the diary, Anna discovers that her parents did not go on a diplomatic mission as everyone believes. The truth is that King Agnar and Queen Gerda went in search of a cure for Elsa, because they saw something dark in her that needed to be stopped. At that moment, Elsa comes to the conclusion that her parents left because of her and feels guilty that Anna has to walk down the aisle alone. In an attempt to discover the truth about what happened to them and clear her sister's conscience, Elsa goes to meet her future father-in-law and asks Grandpappy what led the king and queen to take that trip. Although he does not know the answer to this question, the troll advises the two sisters to go to Misthaven, also known as the Enchanted Forest, because there they will discover the truth. Knowing that her sister is not in favor of continuing this investigation, Anna decides to go to Misthaven alone a few hours before her wedding. When she discovers that her younger sister is at the port, Elsa immediately goes after her, but finds that Anna has already left on the ship wearing the necklace she received as a gift along with her wedding dress. Sometime later, in an attempt to find her sister, Elsa leaves the fairy tales and is sent to the real world. While walking down a lonely road in the middle of the night, she sees a sign and realizes she has ended up in a town called Storybrooke. During her walk, Elsa sees a runaway vehicle coming toward her and uses her powers to freeze it. After stopping a van with her own hands, the queen continues on her way to the city and tries to control herself so as not to freeze the vehicles passing in front of her. At dawn, Leroy returns to town and tells Emma that he was attacked during the night. He says he was driving home when something hit him with magic and froze his van. At that moment, Emma and Killian follow the trail of ice left on the ground and find Elsa, who is hiding in a warehouse. When she realizes someone is approaching, the Queen of Arendelle creates a snowman to protect her, and the monster begins to chase the pair. Upon seeing an evil snowman walking through the streets, the residents decide to flee, and Emma asks her friends for help to stop it. As soon as the creature enters the forest, the group of superheroes tries to stop it from continuing, but they end up being defeated. At that moment, Marion tries to shoot an arrow at her enemy, but she is also knocked down. When the woman is about to be crushed, Regina appears and uses her powers to eliminate the snowman. That night, after breaking into Mr. Gold's antique shop, Elsa finds the necklace she gave her sister as a gift and realizes she is one step closer to finding her. Until she finds out what happened to her sister, Elsa is willing to do whatever it takes to prevent the inhabitants of Storybrooke from leaving and creates walls of ice around the town. Many years ago, upon arriving in the Enchanted Forest, Anna meets David, Kristoff's friend, and asks for his help in accomplishing her mission. When he realizes that she is the fiancée of one of his best friends, David does not hesitate to help her and offers Anna shelter. At that moment, Beth appears to collect the tax charged to all the villagers, but David and Ruth, his mother, do not have the money to pay. Therefore, the woman says they have until the next day to make the payment, otherwise they will lose the farm. As soon as Beth leaves, Anna convinces David to fight to protect his farm and promises to teach him how to wield a sword. However, the next morning, when he enters the barn, David comes face to face with Beth and discovers that Anna has been captured. Determined to save his friend's fiancée, the man takes his sword to face the tyrant and uses his skills to defeat Beth's soldiers. After tying up the woman, David uses his staff to discover Anna's location and manages to free her so that the young woman can continue her mission. During an investigation to find out who built the walls around her city, the sheriff meets Elsa and discovers that she is looking for her younger sister. Concerned for his daughter's safety, David approaches to check if she is okay, and Elsa feels threatened by him. At that moment, the Ice Queen causes an erosion that traps her inside the wall along with Emma. When she realizes that the sheriff has a device that allows her to talk to her father, who is outside, Elsa sees an opportunity to negotiate and says she will release Emma only after David finds her sister. Hours later, when her body is about to freeze, Emma asks Elsa to release her so she can help find Anna, and then discovers that the Ice Queen has no control over her powers. Even if she wants to, Elsa doesn't know how to undo those walls, as her powers are strictly linked to her emotions, and Anna is the only one who can help her control what she feels. Determined to free his daughter, David goes after Beth, who now works as a butcher in Storybrooke. Knowing that the woman's staff can reveal the location of all those who were once her prisoners, David enlists Killian's help to steal it and then returns to rescue his daughter. Realizing that Emma is about to freeze, Elsa concentrates and takes control of her powers. Through a hole in the ice, they manage to escape, and the Ice Queen tries to locate her sister using Beth's staff. Although she cannot see Anna's exact location, Elsa has confirmation that she is alive, and hope of finding her is rekindled in her heart. That night, the Queen tries to use her powers to break down the walls she has created around the city, but realizes that something or someone is preventing the ice from melting. While the sheriff tries to find a way to break down the walls of ice that have been built around Storybrooke, Marion and her husband take Roland out for ice cream. Upon entering the ice cream shop, they meet Ingrid and don't even realize that the woman is using magic to keep her ice cream frozen, as the entire town is without power. Later, during a residence's meeting at City Hall, Marion faints and her body begins to turn cold. Not knowing how to save his wife, Robin decides to go to Regina and ask for help in finding out what happened to Marion. Although she is unable to break the spell, Regina manages to slow down the freezing effect. Minutes later, Emma appears and Elsa states that the only way to break the freezing spell is through an act of true love. Robin immediately bends down to kiss his wife, but soon realizes that his kiss is not enough to bring her back. Shortly after his fiancée's departure, Kristoff discovers that Hans is leading an army to attack Arendelle and decides to climb the mountains with Sven to investigate. While spying on the camp, Kristoff discovers that there is an urn hidden in a cave in the North Valley that has the power to imprison Elsa and anyone else who possesses magic. After sharing his discovery with the Queen, Kristoff sets out to take her to the cave, and when he finds the urn, Elsa realizes that there is something written in an ancient language. As she tries to decipher what it says, Hans and his brothers appear and start a battle. While the Queen uses her powers to take her enemies hostage, Kristoff attacks them with his sword, but ends up being captured by Anna's ex-fiancé. In an attempt to save her brother-in-law, Elsa hands the urn to Hans, and when he opens the lid, the prince ends up freeing Ingrid. Upon hearing the young man refer to her as a freak, the woman decides to freeze him and scares away his brothers. When she arrives at the palace, Ingrid reveals that she is Queen Gerda's sister, and Elsa is surprised to discover that she has an aunt. During a search of the forest to find someone with powers similar to Elsa's, Emma encounters Will Scarlet, a thief who worked with Robin Hood. When he is about to be interrogated, the young man runs away, but is captured by David and says he saw something strange when he broke into the ice cream shop. Will's goal was to steal money from the establishment, but before leaving, he noticed that all the ice cream was frozen, even hours after the city's power had been knocked out. In an attempt to prove he is telling the truth, the thief decides to break into the ice cream shop once again, and when he enters the kitchen, Emma gets the confirmation she needed. Seeing the entire place frozen, the sheriff realizes that Will was telling the truth, but is furious when she discovers that he managed to escape. Meanwhile, in the forest, Elsa finds the woman who has powers similar to hers and discovers that they already know each other. After imprisoning Killian, Ingrid reveals that Elsa's memories were extracted by the trolls so that she would forget that Anna, her own sister, imprisoned her in the urn. When asked why she cast a spell on Marion, Ingrid says she did it to turn humans against Elsa. At that moment, Ingrid tries to use her magic to eliminate Killian, but is stopped by the Ice Queen. Luckily, Emma shows up just in time and attacks the woman while David helps his pirate friend escape. While Ingrid is not trapped, Regina does her best to keep Marion alive and rips out the woman's heart so that the ice cannot reach it. That night, while Emma goes after Regina to ask for help locating Ingrid, Elsa hears her sister's voice calling her name and goes alone into the forest. After walking for a few minutes, she comes across a cliff and, seeing Anna trapped on the other side, Elsa builds an ice bridge to reach her. However, just as she is about to reach her sister, Anna disappears, and Elsa goes deeper into the forest to look for her. When she finally finds her younger sister, the Ice Queen embraces her, but realizes that it was just a cheap trick by Ingrid to lure her in. By the time she realizes she has been deceived by her aunt, it is too late, as Elsa ends up being imprisoned by chains of ice. With Regina's help, Emma finds the ice bridge built by her friend, and while crossing it, they are both caught off guard by a storm. When they realize that Ingrid is nearby, the two friends rush to get to the other side and manage to cross the cliff before the bridge collapses. However, upon reaching the other side, Emma and Regina encounter an ice soldier created by Ingrid and must fight for their lives. When they finally manage to destroy one of the monster's arms, they discover that it is capable of regenerating, so they join forces to try to defeat it. As soon as the creature's body melts, Ingrid appears and, after stealing Regina's mirror, tries to strangle her enemies. At that moment, Elsa appears and sends a frost to knock down her aunt, who, instead of staying and fighting, decides to flee with the magical artifact she was seeking. After freeing Sydney, who was imprisoned inside the mirror by Regina, Ingrid uses a fraction of the artifact to complete a large magical mirror that was cracked. Ingrid's main goal is to have a family that loves her for who she is and accepts her powers. So she goes after Emma and tries to convince her to become her ally. After being freed from the urn, Ingrid helped her niece search for her missing sister and discovered that Anna had found the magic hat her parents were looking for. The reason for the King and Queen of Arendel's trip was to find the artifact capable of taking away Elsa's powers and curing her of all evil. However, for Ingrid, the hat would take away from the young woman precisely what makes her special, and because of that, she decided to imprison Anna in the castle dungeons. According to Ingrid, it was Gerda, her own sister, who locked her in that urn, and her goal is to prevent Elsa from suffering the same fate at the hands of Anna. Suspicious that her aunt is lying, the Ice Queen decides to visit her sister in prison and pretends to be on Ingrid's side to convince the guards to leave the room. As soon as the guards leave, Elsa frees Anna and asks for her help in locking Ingrid back in the urn, as she realizes that her aunt is dangerous. After stealing the urn that her aunt had hidden in the closet next to Han's frozen body, Elsa asks if what she said about their parents is true, and Anna confirms that the King and Queen went after the magic hat to remove the magic from their eldest daughter. However, Anna considers this to be a mistake and states that she does not plan to convince her sister to give up her powers, as she accepts her exactly as she is. Realizing that her powers are out of control, Emma decides to seek Mr. Gold's help, and he claims to know a spell capable of removing the magic of good from a person's body. Even after discovering that this spell is irreversible, Emma decides to go ahead, as her greatest fear is ending up hurting the people she loves. So Gold takes a map and arranges a meeting place with the woman, who must come to the abandoned mansion before sunset. Before going to meet Emma, Gold visits Ingrid and uses the power of the urn that was destroyed by Elsa to imprison her. Knowing that he plans to imprison the sheriff, Ingrid uses her magic mirror to warn her. However, when she sees the Snow Queen in the middle of the road, Emma tries to swerve around her and ends up in an accident. Minutes later, when she manages to get out of the vehicle, the sheriff comes across a hologram of Ingrid, who tries to warn her about Gold. However, since she doesn't trust anything that woman says, Emma decides to ignore her and heads for the mansion. After finding the urn, Anna asks her sister to take her back to her cell so that Ingrid doesn't start to suspect them. However, before Anna has a chance to trap her, Ingrid suddenly appears and reveals her plan B. The woman hoped that Elsa would believe her lies and punish her younger sister, but she prepared herself in case that didn't happen. So she uses her power to cast a spell on Anna, and from that moment on, the young woman can only see the evil in the people she loves. So, when she arrives at the palace, Anna's heart is filled with bitterness and she accuses her sister of ignoring her throughout her youth. At that moment, Ingrid appears and Elsa realizes that her sister has been bewitched. While the woman tries to convince her niece to freeze her sister, Anna opens the urn and the Ice Queen is captured. As soon as her sister is imprisoned, Anna manages to break free from the spell and is attacked by her aunt. Then, when Kristoff appears to defend his fiancée, Ingrid becomes enraged and decides to freeze everyone who lives in that kingdom. In an attempt to find a happy ending for herself, Ingrid breaks into a cave to make a deal with a wizard and ends up being sent to the real world. The Snow Queen's goal is to find two sisters who have superpowers like hers, since she was never accepted by her biological sisters. However, Ingrid was sent to the year 1982 and must wait a few decades until the birth of Emma, who will be her second sister. Upon arriving at the abandoned mansion, Emma walks around looking for Gold, and when he hears the woman's voice calling his name, the villain prepares his magic hat to welcome her. Meanwhile, Elsa uses the locating potion made by Regina to find her sister and ends up being led to Emma. When she realizes that the sheriff intends to give up her powers, Elsa says that she needs to learn to accept herself completely, because only then will she be able to take control of her abilities. That night, when she reunites with her family, Emma gives them the good news and tells them she has given up on giving up her powers. In addition, she has discovered how to control them and uses her abilities to set off beautiful fireworks in the sky. While distracted by the lights, Emma and Elsa don't notice when Ingrid ties a ribbon around their wrists and they begin to feel their magic being channeled. That night, Gold pays a visit to the Snow Queen and discovers that she has managed to free herself. Now that she has taken control of her sister's power, Ingrid has become strong enough to cast a spell over the entire city. When the sun sets, the dark side of all Storybrooke residents will be brought to the surface, and they will be doomed to destroy each other. Realizing that the battle is lost, Gold decides to make a deal with Ingrid so that she will allow him to leave town with his wife and grandson before nightfall. When she discovers that her town has been cursed, Emma decides to evacuate the citizens before the spell takes effect, but to do so, she must figure out how to destroy the walls of ice. At that moment, the spell cast on Arendelle is broken and all the kingdom's residents, including Anna, are freed from the freeze. While trying to find a way to locate her sister, the princess must prevent Hans and his brothers from taking the throne. After locking them in the main hall, Anna and Kristoff flee to the forest and go to meet Blackbeard to find out how to find the Star of Wishes. However, upon arriving there, the couple discovers that the pirate works for Hans and they both end up imprisoned in a chest that is later thrown into the ocean. As the chest is flooded with seawater, Kristoff manages to free himself from his bonds and then unties his fiancé's wrists. At that moment, Anna realizes that she will not be able to get out of that chest alive and embraces Kristoff. Then, just as the couple is about to drown, the wooden box they are trapped in begins to emerge, and they are both washed up on the beach to meet Elsa. Relieved, Elsa runs to hug her sister, and Anna discovers that the wish star has been stuck in her necklace all along. As the sun is about to set, Emma goes to meet her family and locks David and Mary in separate cells so they don't end up hurting each other. While her parents are imprisoned, Elsa protects her newborn brother so that he is not affected by the curse, and Elsa clings to her sister. To ensure her son's safety, Regina decides to lock him in City Hall and seals the doors with magic so that no one, including herself, can enter. Then, the woman locks herself in a crypt to ensure that when she is enchanted, no one will be hurt by her magic. Having already been a victim of that same spell, Anna is not affected, but Kristoff must be handcuffed to prevent him from destroying himself and others. In an attempt to figure out how to resolve things with Ingrid, Emma leaves the baby in Anna's care and asks Elsa for help in finding her aunt. When they arrive at the ice cream shop, they encounter the Snow Queen, but discover that the ribbons tied around their wrists prevent them from hurting her. While the townspeople wage war against each other in the streets, Emma and Elsa rush to Gold's antique shop in search of something that can cut the ribbons, but soon realize that the magic protecting them cannot be easily broken. Knowing that it was Ingrid's love that empowered the ribbons, the sheriff comes to the conclusion that someone with hatred equal to her love can destroy the magic. So she goes to meet Regina, who is dressed as the evil queen. Since she was enchanted, the woman has allowed herself to be corrupted by her dark side and eagerly awaits Emma's arrival. After using her powers to break the spell of containment cast by Regina around the crypt, the sheriff manages to enter and invents a lie to further ignite the hatred contained in the evil queen's heart. Then, during the attack, Emma uses the ribbons to channel magic and thus manages to free herself. After defeating Regina, the two friends run to Ingrid's castle and discover that the woman has 2 crystals containing the memories that were stolen years ago. While Emma and Elsa recover their memories, Regina arrives at the police station and threatens to eliminate Mary's baby. When Anna tries to stop her, the evil queen sends the couple back to the beach where they came from and begins a duel against Snow White. Realizing that her fiancé is losing control because of the spell, Anna decides to hit him with the bottle she finds on the beach, and as soon as Kristoff passes out, she finds the note written by her mother. The princess immediately runs to meet her sister to read the letter left by the former queen of Arendelle, and Ingrid discovers that her sister never forgot her. Despite imprisoning Ingrid in the urn, Gerda never forgave herself for not accepting her and recognizing what was special about her sister. During her journey in search of the magic hat, the queen changed her mind about removing her daughter's powers and left instructions for Elsa and Anna to free Ingrid. When she realizes that her sister loved her and regretted what she had done, the Snow Queen's frozen heart warms, but she does not allow herself to be guided by her emotions. Believing that Anna forged the letter, Ingrid attacks her, but when she touches the crystal containing Gerda's memories, she realizes that her niece is telling the truth. Instantly, Ingrid regrets having cast the spell on Storybrooke, and after saying goodbye to Emma and her nieces, she uses her powers to destroy herself, knowing that this is the only way to break the curse. As soon as the Snow Queen disappears, the spell is broken and the townspeople begin to make peace. After getting rid of the hatred that blinds them, Snow White and the evil queen stop their duel and start laughing at themselves, as they are relieved by Emma's victory. So what did you think of this series? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more series recaps. See you next time.